All right, guys, if it wasn't obvious to you by now that Archon has ties to ancient Egypt, I think after seeing that 10-second reveal and the song that we even used for that 10-second reveal, make it very obvious that he does. And if I'm being completely honest, I feel like out of all of our original characters, Archon was probably the one and only where even if you knew absolutely nothing about our game, and even though he's an alien, if you were to choose when and where he might have shown up on planet Earth in the past, most of you would say ancient Egypt. I mean, this guy just looks so cool, and he has these iconic Sour Blades, which, in my opinion, really bring the character to life. You guys saw the video that I posted with the Leviathan reveal, where Archon actually fights Leviathan, and even though Archon loses this battle, he steals the show for me in terms of his moveset. Like, that spin move that he just did is so awesome. I want to make sure that at some point that shows up in the game. And I think one of the things that made me gravitate towards Archon a little bit more was he reminded me of Jack the Ripper from Black Clover. I'm not sure if you guys are Black Clover fans. I actually really enjoy this anime. But you can see he kind of has that same silhouette where he's a thin, muscular build with these massive swords coming out of his forearms. And although his Sour Blades aren't coming out of his forearms, they're still massive and they're pretty much in that same spot. So all around, what a cool character. But of course, now we have this reveal. And again, if there was any doubt in your mind that he had any sort of ties to ancient Egypt, that doubt is gone, because this man looks like we pulled him right out of an ancient scroll. So let's read his backstory real quick, because he actually has a really cool backstory. Supreme Commander Archon presides over the Grey Alliance Armada. His history goes back to the days of the ancient humans of Egypt, where he destroyed Horus for his betrayal of the Archonic law. He was placed by the Great One as a ruler of order, but in a moment of temptation by Telemachus, who promised him power at his right hand, he betrayed the Great One. Once a greatly respected among the heavenly principalities, he once again made a name for himself by conquering many worlds in the name of the Grey Alliance. His wrath against humans is fierce, as he suffered a major loss in the first Grey Alliance invasion of Earth. He's equipped with dark NiFe armor, and his core is powered by the ancient energy Seraph, burning stronger as he rages in battle. You guys know how much I like characters that get stronger the more angry they get, right? And his superpower is found in his Sour Blades, which at max power unleashes a wrath few can contend with. So again, those blades are so iconic to this character that we had to make sure they were a very prominent feature, even with Gadgetbot digging their hands in. And we actually got to see, I feel like, also out of all the characters, because it was so easy to tell that this guy had ties to ancient Egypt from the original design, even when they came back at us with this original sketch, right, it looks pretty close to what the final version looks like. I mean, looking back and forth, it looks like Archon, the final version of Archon. So when they came back at us in our first meeting, they came with a few different things. In fact, we got this, which I thought was really cool. This is like a sketch they were doing of a Proto-Egyptian exploration, they called it, where they were taking what the body of Archon looked like and these different types of elements of ancient Egyptian culture and trying to tie those into what the character looks like. So that was interesting. They didn't share a lot of these with us, and so the one that they did share, I wanted to share with you guys. But on our first meeting, this is what Gadgetbot brought to the table. And across the board, everyone was like, oh, wow, you guys absolutely nailed Archon. And, I mean, if you remember what he looks like in the final variation, it's literally a combination of these two variants that created Archon. So, for example, if we go over here on the left-hand side, the metal beard that you often see, like on ancient Egyptian pharaohs' tombs, right? We wanted to make sure we had that, so that was taken from the left. We didn't go with the swords on the left. We liked the ones on the right. They looked a lot more like the original Sour Blades. We just wanted them to be a bit bigger. But we ended up taking like the torso here and the waistline and bringing that over. And we really loved the helmet that Archon had, right? Very reminiscent of Anubis, Lord of the Underworld, right? What a helmet to wear to instill fear of the Egyptian people back then, literally having a helmet of Lord Anubis on your head, right? I mean, if you guys don't know who Lord Anubis is, maybe do a Google search, but that's what they were going for here. So we really liked elements from both of these characters. They were merged together, and then this is what we got. And then from here, it was just a matter of punching all the detail in to really bring this character to life. It's so funny, you can even see on his metal chin beard right here that it's just an orange tube that was stuck on, right, to get the idea across. But from the get-go, we really knew the direction we wanted to go with this character. I felt like we were really in sync with Gadgetbot was thinking, and literally went from this to this. Like, it was the fastest transformation, again, I think, out of all the characters. And so a few different variants to choose from. You can see that there was just a few things that were changed, just the way that the armor was colored, but ultimately we ended up going with C. A and B could be cool variants in the future. I actually think that he looks more like, if we were to go with A, that could be like maybe if there was a female version of his race, that's where this one would come in, right? These colors, I don't know, just brings more of like a female version of Archon across. But over here, he just looks so dastardly. I mean, look at all that detail. Look at the beard, which is actually a part of his body. So back in ancient Egypt, they would actually, wear that chin strap beard called I believe it was called a prostouche is what they called it, or just a metal chin beard. They would wear that as a sign of power. But for Archon, it's just a part of his body. So maybe the story can be that, the ancient pharaohs would wear that to, kind of resemble him because he was the ruler, right? And so we ended up going with C. And then from C, they started really bringing in all the detail. And if you pay attention and dive in, you can see a lot of the detail, even on the sour blades, looks like something that you would see on the wall in an ancient Egyptian tomb, right? And the same thing goes for the detail around this neck piece right here. And again, we have the helmet of Anubis, right? That's on his head, looks really cool. And a lot of the oranges really play into his body. With his body being gray, it brings the shininess of the armor out. It brings the shininess of the blades out. And even his eyes have kind of like a yellow glow to them, which I think looks really cool. And then we go to the very final version of Archon here. There wasn't a lot that was changed, guys. I mean, if you pay attention to his left arm, that's where the alien symbol was added. It's been really fun to find where the symbols were placed on these characters when they sent over the final variants, because every character I've shown you guys so far, especially for the aliens, the symbol wasn't added until the very end, right? So we have the symbol on the left arm there, all the detail punched in, and then of course, this amazing song to go with an amazing character reveal. That's Archon, guys. Super badass. Came out amazing. And if you're into ancient Egyptian history, I think you're really going to love this character. Make sure you subscribe, tap that like button, and we'll see you in the next character reveal.